Hi, friends. We at GLC would like to take a quick moment to thank you for watching our programs on this platform, and we'd like to ask you for a little favor. Would you please go beneath this video and click the subscribe button? Did you know that by simply subscribing to the GLC YouTube channel, you can help us financially support the programs on this platform? You'll need to be signed into YouTube beforehand, but if not, simply click the subscribe button and YouTube will automatically walk you through the steps to sign in or to create an account. By taking these simple steps, you will not only ensure that you continue to receive our unique programming and gain instant access to the hundreds of videos we post, but more importantly, you'll also be telling YouTube that GLC's content is worth watching and promoting. Likewise, if you enjoyed a specific program, please click the thumbs up button below, which also helps inform YouTube that this is a program worth recommending. Finally, once you have logged in and subscribed, please click the notification bell below in order to receive announcements when we post new content. As usual, feel free to post your questions and comments in the comments section below. We always love hearing from our friends and viewers. Again, thank you for watching and supporting God's Learning Channel. We couldn't spread the message of the gospel without you. Be blessed, and we hope you enjoy the show. Hello, folks. Welcome to Word on the Street. You've seen her before. She's none other than Dr. Cyndi Romine with calltorescue.org, an incredible organization that has rescued tens of thousands of children through the years from child sex trafficking right here in the United States and around the world. Hello, Dr. Cyndi.
Good morning, Brent. Great to be with you today.
It's always good.
So glad to be here and be able to talk to your audience. It's great.
Well, I'm honored to talk to you, Dr. Cyndi. I mean, my gosh, talk about a mover and shaker, a fearless woman right there on the front lines. Of course, you and I have been talking about this subject before it's become a mainstream subject in terms of even the mainstream media, which, you know, if you notice during Trump's era, you had a lot of coverage with arrests and things like that. But under this current administration that seems to be so steeped in those types of activities, you don't ever hear about it unless it's a show like this. Or you're one of the fortunate families who has received their loved one back from the most evil industry on the earth, and that's child sex trafficking. But Dr. Cyndi, you've been around the world since we've talked. Catch us up. Tell us what's going on.
Well, let's see. When the Ukraine and Russia first started in on their conflict, I had NGO contact me and say, we've got to have training over here. We've got to have help. We are not set up for rescuing children or recognizing it. And so my daughter-in-law, Mila Romine, and I went over to the Ukraine. We stayed in Warsaw at first, and then, of course, we went out to the border. And boy, what a tragedy, what a tragedy, what a tragedy. You know, at the first, nobody actually knew what to do. It was so sad. So everybody, you know, put everything they owned on their back and they started heading toward Poland, a lot of them. Millions of them, actually. And you saw the trains crammed with people and everybody flooding these gates. And when we got there, we were talking to the women who actually went through that process. Mm-hmm. So at the beginning, they thought that as a family, they could get through and escape. And what they found out was by the time they got to the actual fence, the actual border,
right?
The president of the Ukraine had actually said, no men can leave. And so the stories were like, we got to the border, we were completely loaded down, and my husband was with me, and we didn't know where we were going. And then we were told he couldn't come in. And so then they're scrambling, and he's saying to her, I'm going to throw everything we own over this high fence. And when you get to the other side with the children and all the stuff they've got, then you will pick it up and then you can go from there. And she's saying, I don't know where to go. I don't have anybody over there. I don't know anybody in Europe. Where am I going to go? Wow. And so tragedy after tragedy. And of course, you know, all kinds of people were, all kinds of NGOs, we were all there to pick up where that left off. But when my story started was when one of the gals came across and she was headed toward the border. She was inside Ukraine, headed for the border, and a van full of people pulled up beside her and said, "Hey, do you need a ride? We're going to the border." And of course, she said yes, because she's carrying all her stuff. And she gets in the van and they don't go to the border. She's trafficked. So when I was there, they were losing one child a minute. One child a minute in the Ukraine, coming from trafficking, of course, and also coming from the orphanages being bombed. So the tragedy of losing hundreds of kids in one instant with all those bombings. And of course, those are the stories you never hear. You never hear those stories. And we were in a house where they were taking in people from the Ukraine, and women sobbing. They'd lost, one lady had lost her best friend and the entire orphanage in one bombing. And an older lady, I felt so bad for her. She was walking up and down these halls going, boom, boom. It was like she had total shock. And so we were dealing with everything all at one time, doing training, trying to get people out of Warsaw and off of the border to finally do some, get them somewhere. I just have to mention, though, that the European train system came through like heroes. They just said, if you can prove you're Ukrainian and you need to go anywhere in Europe, we will give you free transport.
Wow.
I know. Come on. I don't know
Wow.
if that would have happened here, but anyway, that was fabulous.
No,
and then there was that one picture I think different people saw where we were at the train station that was receiving all those people in to Warsaw, or just into the border. And what the first stop they would make, all the women in Poland had taken their baby carriages and filled them with water and diapers and blankets and taken them down to the train station and had signs on them that said free, take this stroller. Because these women were coming in with kids and clothes and no water, no food.
Right.
And the Polish people really, really stepped up. So that's the quick overview of my story.
Oh my gosh. Well, I remember speaking to you, I believe it was right after you got there, boots on the ground, and how these people were all already in place, almost like they had a plan together before it happened, huh? Right there, picking up women and children, offering to help, and really they were trafficking them. And, there's not the best reputation in regards to child sex trafficking in Ukraine.
No.
And, some would call it the capital of child sex trafficking. Some would call it the capital of money laundering.
Oh, absolutely.
For all the governments of the world. Very interesting. Laura Logan, Pulitzer Prize winning journalist, is no longer on the end with the journalistic world because of, blowing a whistle on some of these facts and stuff, and the connections even with government here in the United States. Who would have thought? I mean, think about Texas, the great Republic of Texas. Who would have thought I believe it's the number one state of child sex trafficking is Texas. I love Texas, but with a porous border, a deliberate neglect of border security, and enforcing proper channels of vetting these third world people. Most of them are not Mexicans looking for a better life, folks. The third world people that hate America. Not all of them, but a lot of weapon caches, a lot of fighting age Chinamen, a lot of fighting age people from Yemen. And we could talk for days about that. But as far as our most precious thing, which is children, Laura Logan recently, she talked to an elite that did not mind being quoted. They didn't want their name, but they just said, that these people that are evil, they literally hate God, and in their minds, the best way they can hurt God is to hurt children. So this is a very,
Yeah,
very real thing, folks. It's far darker than just an industry. Some would even say
absolutely.
downright occultic. Now I'm going to calltorescue.org right now. And when you do that, it's a very user-friendly website, folks. You want to get involved with this. There's that old term, you put your money where your mouth is, Dr. Cyndi. I met you, I believe, in 2010 or 2011 at Primetime Christian Broadcasting GLC, way back
Yes.
then. And the story that you told and your husband that got you into this fight, because like most Americans, you weren't aware of the problem. It's kind of hard not to be aware of the problem now with all the media sources and even TikTok talks so much about child sex trafficking, and whether you can trust every source you see. Folks, you have to have some discernment there. But I'm right here, and I know that statistics have only increased, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Was there any type of improvement in this area during the Trump administration? And if
Oh,
so,
yeah.
okay.
Oh, absolutely. Because he had a group of NGOs come in and, talk to them and made law. And I mean, it was really on the cutting edge at that point. During the pandemic, the child sex trafficking in the US went up by 20%. But in the Philippines, where I work extensively, child sex trafficking went up 200%. So this thing has just escalated because of the internet, of course, that anybody can be anywhere in the world. And it just really is tragic. And of course, you can video from anywhere. We're proving it, right?
Right.
And so they take pictures of children, and unfortunately, and most people can't really believe this, but people that are in a abject poverty do sell their children for money. And that's all I have. I mean, it's just tragic. It's just tragic. The people that you're supposed to trust the most are using you. So it's the recovery on all of these kids as they call in to call to rescue is just huge.
A lot of people can't believe that. But
I know.
it's
I
been
know.
going on for a very long time. I mean, actually, it's been going on since the beginning of our civilization. Parents selling children,
Exactly. Yeah.
and it's so dark. But folks, you know what? Doing this and doing this and doing this doesn't make the problem go away.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And regardless of the progress that was made, people still, voted with their stomachs and their genitals, not with their mind and their heart.
Yeah.
And we're in a spot. 34 million evangelicals didn't even vote last time, and I mean,
So
gosh,
sad. It's so sad. A lot of people when I'm overseas ask me how I voted. And I just want to put this out there. There is a party behind all these people that are
right,
running for president. And I believe you have to run with the premise of the party. And which party are we dealing with that is not going to allow abortion?
right.
Right. I mean, that's almost my number one deal is like, we can't keep killing our babies. We can't keep doing this. And so that's the number one thing for me. And we've got to all vote. I was in an immigration line once, and I can't even remember where, but this guy tapped me on the shoulder. He was a younger guy. And he said, you're from the United States, aren't you? And I said, yeah. He said, I could see by your passport. And I said, yes. And he said, could I ask you a very personal question? I said, absolutely. What's up? And he said, how come if you in the United States have the right to vote, you don't vote? There's the question. Why? Why, if we have the right to vote, do we not vote? I have a friend from Australia, and if you don't vote in Australia, they send you a bill. I love that. You
Wow.
get charged if you don't vote. I love that. I think we need to start
Man,
that.
I wish we could do that here. I mean, here, some people get paid to vote,
Yeah, that's right.
they
And
get.
like just exactly like in most third world countries, I might want to add.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
they get a free
yeah,
phone and all the
yeah.
goodies. And hey, $2,400 a month if you break the law and
Mhm.
come up to the southern border. You don't even
Yeah,
have to get a vaccination. I mean, hey, it's population replacement, right? But
exactly.
but yeah,
Exactly.
I'm amazed. I'm amazed at the willful stupidity of people. This isn't your grandma's party. This isn't the
Right.
party of ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for the country. These are dark times. These are dark
Yes.
people, and of course that it's interesting. Right out of Hitler's playbook, blame the other side of what you're really doing. I'm always amazed. I'm always amazed at the same people that brought you Jim Crow laws, Native American genocide, slavery, the KKK, black genocide, true white supremacy and racism are the ones that are calling the very party created
Yeah.
for the purpose of freeing the slaves those things. And hey, we're just too busy working a job. We don't have time to get paid $200 and given a pipe to burn down a city with the president and vice president's bailout fund, in
Right.
this regime, not administration. So, folks, it's not a matter of betraying your grandma. Your grandma will be demanding you stand up for children.
Right.
So many people have just lost their minds, or they don't use their minds. Being willfully stupid doesn't make the problem go away. And when it comes to children, without apology, no matter how you grew up, you know, most
Yeah.
people be shocked to find out that at one time I was a Democrat, and
Well,
I
we
thought I
do
was,
grow up and we
yeah,
do start thinking differently. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, I think that's
yeah.
part of it. It's like, okay, I do need to think this through before I vote.
Well, yeah,
But we still have modern day slavery. We
we do.
still have modern day slavery, and we have labor slavery, which
Right.
most people never talk about. We have kids working when they shouldn't be. We have illegals working when they shouldn't be. We have all of this slavery going on. And then when you get into sex slavery, it is such a huge problem here in the United States, all over the world. There is not, and listen to me carefully on this, there is not a village or group of houses that is not affected by child sex trafficking, because you have people on the internet, they call it a wheel spoke, right? You have
Right.
one guy or woman in the middle. 50% of all child sex trafficking is done by women. You have a wheel spoke here, and then you have all the spokes that come off of the wheel hub, and all of those people are involved in taking one person's pictures that they're taking of children in slavery and throwing them out to the whole entire world. At one time, there was a young man in my area, and I was asked to do counseling with him because he was just arrested for child sex trafficking, and being one of those that was the hub. And I got together with him, we were talking, and he said, I didn't touch anybody, but you're paying for images that did. So, I mean, the thinking behind this, again, the thinking behind most of what we do is totally skewed, right? Whether it comes to voting or what we know or what's really happening, it's skewed. If you're watching porn, you are participating in child sex trafficking, even if it's adults. So you'll say, but my porn is with adults. And I would say, but your appetite will change. Your appetite for porn will change, and you will go younger and younger and younger. And even if you don't, the same people that are doing adult porn are doing child porn. So you can't, there's no way out of, or no excuse that you can give me that would lead to that.
The shame of it is that
There's
the The entities who should be going after those who legislate child porn
Exactly.
instead are baiting and switching people to go to child porn sites, and
Yeah.
which is wrong. But,
Yes.
did you know recently there was legislation proposed to legalize child pornography to prisons?
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
And
There's stuff
yeah,
on the book that just you can't even believe somebody would think of it.
but it's not coming from conservatives.
No.
The man boy lovers association isn't coming from conservatives. The
Correct.
drag queen story hour is not coming from conservatives.
Correct.
But
Let's
what
have
is that?
grandpa and grandma story hour.
Right.
Yeah. Why can't we step up and do that for our kids? Absolutely.
It just seems like, passing along a meme is the depth of the commitment here. And
Yeah.
folks, we got to do better than that. I mean, golly, 34 million evangelicals didn't even vote. Do you have a right to complain if you don't vote, folks? No, you don't.
No, you don't. And that is a shame. They do need to be ashamed of that, because anybody who doesn't vote is giving up their right to speak on anything. You can't have an opinion on anything if you're not voting.
And then people do not educate themselves. The pork belly politics, a bill for veterans. You put in some child pornography in the bill or something like that. Well, the Republicans don't want to help veterans. No, you evil person. They don't want to support child pornography that
Correct.
you put into the bill that has nothing to do with veterans.
Yes,
At some point, I don't know. I don't know. It's like Billy Graham said, if God doesn't judge America, he'll have to apologize to Sodom and Gomorrah. Folks, the child sex trafficking problem, you can't say that's not, it doesn't have to do with you, doesn't affect your family. Don't you understand that there's probably not a school in America that doesn't have a spotter? Someone inside or someone around there that is looking for children to lure into the child sex trafficking occult is what I should call it, because it doesn't stop at child sex slavery.
Right.
It becomes something far darker.
Some of those spotters are kids themselves.
Oh yeah.
Right, because the whoever is going in and saying, hey, if you'll spot this child for me, get name, address, what they do, whatever you want to do, I will give you a new iPad, or I'll give you a new whatever. So a lot of our spotters are children themselves and have no idea what they're doing.
Well,
but
hey,
somebody's buying it from them.
Or $10,000. How about that? It's amazing. What people will sell each other out for, maybe even an Amazon gift card. I mean,
sure.
it's just unbelievable. It's unspeakable evil. When they're done with these children, last I heard, if you're lucky, they last a couple of years.
I think the statistics right now in the United States is 5 years. And the reason for that is because of that horrible depression that they fall into. They feel like they made a choice to do it instead of being taught that they were duped and it's okay and you don't have shame in this. And we're talking about cute little children. We're not talking about 25-year-old adults. We're talking about kids. And in my mind, that goes on up to almost 20 years old, right? Because they just don't know and don't understand what they're getting into at that point. And they're groomed by professionals. These guys are pros at what they do.
Of course they are. Well, and it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there. They don't retire. Then they go on to, many of them go into ritual sacrifice and then organ harvesting, folks. I mean, we can't even go there right now. Actually, we could, but it's far more dark and evil than any of you imagine. And here we go. What are you hearing on Sunday mornings? Well, 7 ways to get over a bad mood. Give me a break, folks. I mean, my gosh, that's why I didn't fit. Dr. Cyndi. I went to Bible college, children's ministry, youth ministry, worship pastor. So why didn't I fit? I spoke the truth. And I'm not saying the pastors out there don't speak the truth, but folks,
we have to speak the truth, and we have to be, as Christians, not just a little informed what feels good, but we have to be totally informed by the pulpit on what actually is happening in our world. Absolutely.
Well, and even according to scripture, there's a penalty for the watchman on the wall who refused to sound the alarm. So,
Yeah.
Dr. Cyndi, how many years have you been doing this? You've been at this for a while now.
Well, I hate to give you the year because I'll tell you how old I am, but I have done child rescuing since 1988.
Oh my God!
So
Well,
quite
I
a while.
started in marketing in 1983, so don't feel bad. You're probably younger than.
Yeah, I don't think so, Brad.
Well, Dr. Cyndi, you've devoted your life to this, and I know there is a reward in heaven, and I know there's rewards now. You and your team, people have been able to see the recovery
Yeah.
of some of these children and to see them restored to their families. And folks, this is a real issue. I don't know what the latest statistic is of how many children that you encounter on a daily basis, folks, that may be involved in child sex trafficking.
Absolutely. In the last, I think it's about 6 years, we're trying to keep track of numbers, but in the last 6 years, Call to Rescue has rescued and counseled and whatever else over 2,000 kids. We don't count like large groups that we've informed. That's not in that number.
Right.
The number is kids that have been personally affected by Call to Rescue. We have gotten them out of trouble, rescued them. And of course, the best thing is when you get to take them home to mom and dad and you find the bad guy. That is really fun.
I bet it is fun. Go there right now. I'm there. Calltorescue.org. Everybody, fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, and give a donation today. It's a very user-friendly site. Get involved any way that you can. This is the first of many that we want to continue to amp up and being involved and in contact with you, Dr. Cyndi, because it's on our front door, and because of the deliberate, willful, funded, advertised, and propagated invasion of our country by our own government, the problem's only gotten worse, and so we need to watch out for our own. And any child, but also your own, folks. It's at your door. You can't ignore it away. You can't sing it away, and I pray that any pastor out there, I know many pastors, I love all of you, in the midst of the big screens and skinny jeans and fog machines, that you incorporate in there at least some real life truth of what's happening around us and how we can protect each other. I saw a billboard for a church serving the county of. Well, if you want to serve your county the way that your billboard says, you're going to watch out for your kids. And the school ain't going to do it. The government ain't going to do it. But it's time the churches start doing it. And so it's heroes like you, Dr. Cyndi, that make doing television worthwhile. Can't wait to talk to you again. Folks, you've seen on the bottom of your screen who are watching this on broadcast, calltorescue.org. Go there, make a donation, support them with your prayers, and make contact. I'm sure there's plenty of ways that you can help fight for the lives of our children. So thank you for on me again, Dr. Cyndi. Can't wait till next time.
Thank you.